Hi friends, it's Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Schoodic or St. Croix River, the traditional territory and home of the Passamaquoddy. And I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Today I have a really interesting card for you using some heat embossing, which is not hard. If you've never tried it before, that's okay. You'll see how simple it is. And I'm using some elements in this card, including these lovely intricate dies that are from our last chance sale that is on right now. And when I checked this morning, these dies were still there and in stock. The dies that created these stars were also in stock. And then there's also a stamp set that creates this beautiful sentiment. So we will get to that project and have a look in just a moment. And let me just tell you about a few of the deals coming up as well before we get to that. So let me just arrange my technology here. I'm a little bit out of sync here because I had to go to the dentist this morning for my 6-month appointment and my daughter as well. And so we're just a little bit off kilter here today, but that's okay. I'm sure you'll understand that. So here's the project, and I just wanted to show you how intricate these dies are. So this last chance sale just started this week, and what that means is that anything in our holiday mini catalog that is not going to carry over to the next quarter is going to retire. And so a number of these items are discounted up to 60% off, and one of the discounted items is these beautiful dies. And I'll show you how to use them here today, so you'll be clear on that as well. And we will also have a number of items retiring that aren't necessarily discounted, but you won't be able to buy them anymore. Lots of the different papers are among them. So we will get right into that. And I just wanted to tell you about a couple of deals first. First, if you order with me in November, I will be happy to gift you the pieces to make this nice winter card that you can use for Christmas or winter, or any kind of winter holiday, or just for a hello. So I'll send you that if you order with me this month. Also, my November special, when you place any order of $60 or more before tax and shipping, I'd be happy to gift you a free pack of embellishments. So that's another option for you. Oh, hi, Kathy. Welcome. I'm glad you're watching today. We've got a little bit of snow here. We actually have a heavy snowfall warning, but we're just at the beginning of it. We'll see if it materializes. It's just wet flakes at the moment, not really much accumulation. And I also have some classes coming up. I have some in-person classes here in St. Stephen and on Campobello Island. So if you're interested in those, please have a look at my website, juliescraftaddict.com, or just message me and I'll be happy to tell you about those. The ones that are online, here's one of them. It is with the Bird's Eye View stamp set. So I'll just show you that. And this beautiful new floral paper that I've never used for anything else yet. So I'm happy about that as well. And I've got all the details for those classes on my Facebook page and on my website, juliescraftaddict.com. And I've got a link built right into this post actually, so you can go directly there if you're interested. My classes that are online are available anywhere in Canada. And here's another class that's coming up. This is a simple stamping Meandering Meadows class, and it comes with a goodie bag of $20, a little bit more than $20 actually, including some of these beautiful papers and some other things. That's coming up as well. And you can use any sentiment stamps that you like. So again, you can just go to juliescraftaddict.com and find out about all those classes. There's also a kit class there. And I will be doing my very first craft show appearance this weekend here in St. Stephen at the Legion as well. So if you're in this area, please come and say hello and make a free card while you're there. All right, so there's so many things going on. I think we should just jump right into our card. And then as anything comes up, we can talk about it then. So please let me know you're watching. I love to know who's watching, where you're watching from, and maybe tell me if you've been to a craft sale yet this year. All right, so here is the stamp set we're going to be using. It is called Night Divine, and you can get this in a bundle with the dies. So these dies are fantastic. I'm just really impressed with how well they turn out. I love these dies. And then the stamp set has all these beautiful sacred sentiments in it. and they're just really fun to work with. I've had a lot of fun with these and made a lot of different projects. So this is actually going to be embossed in white here, and that's what we're going to do on our card. But first we need to have all our pieces cut out so that we know where everything is going to go. So why don't we do that first? So this is a rare case where I actually start with die cutting. I usually start with stamping, but not today. So let's see, I've already cut out the stable because you do need the larger machine to cut out the stable. But I'm going to use my mini machine to cut out all the other pieces. So I have all these little random bits of paper here. And we will get straight to that. Okay, so we need some gold foil sheets for the gold stars. So there's some scraps of that. We need just a little scrap of white for our little lamb here. We need some scraps of copper clay for these two animals here. So I'm just going to use this, and you can tell I cut out a stable for another card out of this color. So I'm just going to use what's left over, and probably some of these pieces too. Then we need the donkey to be cut out in this crumb cake. So probably it'll fit right on one of those. And then I've got a little piece of basic black as well. So let's start cutting out all of our elements, and then we'll be able to arrange them on our card and see where exactly we want to do the embossing. So I'm going to grab the mini machine here. Here it is, just a little one. And I'll get out my plates to put on there. And just in case you haven't done this before, it's very straightforward. So the plates all come with instructions. You can see mine are very well used and loved. All the instructions are rubbing off at this point. So you need a plate number 1 on the bottom. That's this one. You need 2 plates number 2, and it's okay if they're all marked up like mine are. And then you sandwich between them your die and your paper. So here's plate number 1. Let's use this really marked up one underneath. And then we'll use the less marked up one on the top. And that's just so that these grooves that are into the cutting part, this is the plate I've used to cut down into. And sometimes those will show up kind of as unwanted embossing if you put them on the top part. If you put them as the top plate. So I put them at the bottom and then use a relatively unscathed plate for the top. Okay, so let's start with all of our little characters here. So let's get out the dies here. I've got mine on a magnetic sheet for easier use. Whoops, apparently my magnetic sheet doesn't fit very well in my package though. I need to cut a little more off the side, but that's okay. All right, so there's all of our dies. So let's start with our camel here. And what other element do we want to cut out? How about this little cow down here? That looks like a good one. So we will do those in copper clay. And I think I'll be able to use just this little scrap for the cow. That should be fine. Lots of room there. And then we'll just need a little piece that I'll cut off here for the camel. So you really just need to keep scraps around for cutting out die cuts. You don't really need to use a whole new piece of paper if you've got those scraps lying around. So that's what I keep all my scraps for, actually, just to do that. I'm just going to move some things out of the way here so I can see, and you can see on the camera. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and we will do these ones. And as you can see, it's really easy. You just crank this through with your hand, and they come out through the other side. It's just pressure that works on the dies to cut out these things. The dies themselves are not that sharp, so it's not a safety hazard or anything. And there we go. So let's have a look at what we got. So look how nice that is. It's got all those details in there and little pieces to poke out as well. Here's our cow. And we'll poke that out at the end. I'll show you how to do that with the Take Your Pick tool. So now we'll go on to our next figures. Let's see what we're going to do next. So let's cut out the main scene here. That's in basic black. So that's the whole nativity scene. Here's our die. Okay, and we just need our piece of black paper for that. So Here's our black paper underneath here. So we're just going to put it the die side down, and we'll put that through. And then we'll go on to the rest of our figures. So we just have a few more. It doesn't take long at all to cut these out. And actually, if you want to use several of them at the same time, you can do that. I'm just doing it this way so you can see them a bit better. But I normally cut out several at the same time. Okay, so here we go. So we'll poke that out in a couple of minutes. And now, what do we need to do? Okay, so we need this little donkey in our crumb cake here. Such a nice suite, Kathy. Yes, yes, I agree. I find that this whole suite is so beautiful. I wasn't sure how much I'd use it when I first got it, but then it's become the star, actually, for me. I really, really like it. Okay, and then we've got our little white piece here for our little lamb. So let's put our little lamb on there. And we've got our little donkey friend here too. So we'll just put them there. Okay, so we're going to crank that through as soon as it grips. I can pull the machine back so you can see it better. And we'll get that all done through the other side. And then I think we just have our stars to go at this point. Okay, so there's our little donkey, and here's our little lamb. And now we have to get our stars cut out, and I used the gold foil sheets to do 2 separate stars there. You can see they're hooked together there, and I've got a dimensional in between them. I think I forgot to pull out my star dies, so let me just grab those. Okay, they are right here. And these are called Stars at Night dies. And actually, I'll have a whole supply list for you of everything I'm using. If you click through to the link where it says Learn More, that'll take you to my blog post that shows all the dimensions and measurements and all the full instructions on how to make this card. If you need to get the supplies, they're all listed for you there. So these stars, there's so many of them. So let's just go with what I had before. So I have kind of this medium-sized star and a small one. So let's open these up and I'll get those out. Okay, so there's the small one. I'll take that. And the medium-sized was this one. So I'll take that one out as well. All right, so here we go. And we need our gold foil sheets. Okay, so when I have these gold foil bits or any kind of really special and more expensive paper, I just kind of keep all the little bits that I use around because I never know when I'll be able to use like the funniest shaped little scraps. And so that's exactly what we're going to do with this piece today. Just use these very strange shapes and we're going to use them all. You might as well get your money's worth, I figure. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to cut that out. And it's just coming through the other side there right now for us. Okay, and that should be the end of our machine needs for today. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And we will get our items out of here. Okay, so like the other ones, the die cuts stayed inside the dies. And you can see I've still got some gold foil left, so I'll keep that for something else. It would be definitely enough for another star, I would say. Okay, so now we're going to take the Take Your Pick tool, and we're going to get all of these little items out. So you can let me know if you have one of these tools and you find it useful. I find it really, really helpful to get out these little pieces. So you can see it kind of lifts it right off the die so that you're not just kind of pulling at the paper and getting it dog-eared on the edges. It'll pull it out for you and then you can grab the paper and take it out. So there's one star. Okay, and I'm just going to put that aside and put it away after. Here's my other star. So we're going to punch that out easily as well. All right, 2 stars. Okay, and here is our lamb. Let's see if we can get this out nicely too. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. Yeah, look at the nice detail in that. I really like that. So these dies are on sale right now, and until they run out, basically, and then they're not restocking them. And I think they are a great addition to a Christmas card repertoire, that's for sure. They make such impressive looking scenes, and there's so many things you can do with them too. If you have a look at my blog, and that's at juliescraftaddict.com, just look over the last couple of days, and I've got additional cards that I've made with these dies. And I really, really like them a lot. The dies and the stamps both, actually, from the Night Divine bundle. Okay, and then we already have our camel cut out here. And now we're going to poke out this little cow and release her from her being trapped in the die there. Okay, and then we've got our stable too. So now is the time to poke out any additional pieces. Like this one has these additional pieces here. So we're going to just take those out. See if I can get that one out too. There, that one's gone. Okay, now this one, does it have any? Okay, there's one. One to poke out. Maybe that's all there is. I think the rest all came out just with the die cutting. Okay, perfect. So again, in case you need one of these, it's called the Take Your Pick tool. One side is sharper. The other side has the putty on that allows you to place little embellishments like these. So I might show you that a little bit later. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place the stable on our decorative paper. Now this paper was the Oh Holy Night paper, and that has sold out and is not being restocked because it's already gone in the sale. However, I found a good alternative that I'm going to show you, and it might be kind of surprising what it is. So I have this beautiful blue. It's kind of a boho and balmy blue, and a little bit of gray in the background as well, and that'll work great for what we're going to do. Look what's on the back. It's daisies. This is actually the Fresh as a Daisy paper. So you can use other papers that are not specifically with the suite, and you can coordinate them very nicely with your whole scene. So I was quite pleased that I could get that one because it's a really nice choice for this. So we're going to put the stable on there. Okay, so there's the stable. And I'm going to get my Versamark ink. This is my invisible watermark ink that you want to use to stamp your sentiment, and then we will heat emboss it. So I'm going to use Oh Holy Night from the Night Divine suite. And here we go. So I'm going to get a block and just position that on the block nicely. All right, and I'm going to coat this up really, really well because I want it to stand out really nicely on our paper. So you could do any color you want. I'm using white, and that's with the Basics embossing powders. You can also use metallics if you'd rather. There's a gold, a copper, and a silver in the metallics embossing powders. But this one I wanted white because I thought it would really stand out nicely. Okay, so we got that on. So let's go ahead and, whoops, right side up would be good. We will put this in. I'm going to put this up a little bit higher. I just want to make sure there's room for all my figures at the bottom as well. Okay, so let's kind of straighten it up here. And then we're going to hold it down firmly and just press straight down for several seconds. And then we're going to lift it up. Okay, so I'm going to carefully move the stable out of the way. So I don't know if you can see that on camera a little bit. So it's just made this almost invisible impression there. And I'm going to move my stamp well out of the way because we're going to use the powder now. So when you use the powder, you definitely don't want your stamps around because they'll stick, the powder will stick to them. And you need a scrap piece of paper. So here is a scrap piece of paper I have. It's just something I printed kind of codes on the other side and didn't need them. So I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to sprinkle this white liberally over the whole saying. And we're going to return most of that to the little container. So I'm just going to tap it off here. All right, and I like to turn it over and kind of ping it with my hand, with my finger. And if there's any little grains that have kind of gone astray, you can see it, but I think that looks pretty good actually. So I'm going to return my powder back to my little container here. There is a tool for this. There's embossing tools you can get from Stampin' Up. If you're looking for those, just let me know. I can point you to the right place. But I've always used just a little bit of paper like that because it works for me. And I'm just going to put the cover back on before I use my heat tool. So the heat tool will have to heat up for a few seconds. So I'm going to turn it on now. It might be loud or it might go completely silent on your end. So I'm just going to turn it on. Okay. And let's watch it work its magic. It'll turn from powder into a shiny white. Ah, you can see it happening there. Going to take a closer look at that, make sure I got all the powder there, but it looks like it to me. It's all shiny and nice. All right, that looks really good. Okay, so now we have our embossed paper, which is not the Oh Holy Night DSP. It's actually fresh as a daisy, but that works really well, and the white stands out so nicely there. And now we're going to put the rest of our card together. Okay, so let's see where we want everything to go. All right, I think we'll go ahead and we'll just stick the stable on first. So I'm using this multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm using the fine tip. You don't need very much of the glue at all here. So you just need a tiny bit to stick it down really, really well. Too much will just kind of ooze all over your paper, and then you'll have to use your glue eraser a lot. If you don't have a glue eraser, Stampin' Up! Does not have anything like that to my knowledge, but I bought mine at a dollar store actually, and here's what the glue eraser looks like. It's just kind of this little block that you can use. So they're really inexpensive, but a really great tool to have around. Okay, so let's take this and we're gonna fit that on to our card. Okay, so I'm just going to press that down. That little bit of glue will hold very nicely. And now we're going to look at our other elements and kind of see where we want them to go. Oh yes, and I did the same thing the other night when I had a class. I forgot to leave part of the stable lifted up because I'm going to tuck the camel right underneath that, just for a little bit of extra texture. And this design, by the way, I did not make it up. I tweaked it, but I've seen other demonstrators do something similar, and Stampin' Up! Has a card very similar to this, almost the same, on their website, and I'm sure that's where everybody's getting these ideas. Their designers do a great job, And I really like the samples that they make, and lots of times I make their samples because I just like what they've done. They have, whoops, professional designers doing this stuff all the time, and they do a really super job. Okay, so let's put this one underneath. There, that should work very well. So you can just tuck that underneath. And the good thing about the liquid glue is that it's very forgiving, and you can usually lift it up for a little bit after you've stuck it down. So that's not too bad to do that. All right, let's take our people next. And let's see, they've got a little bit of detritus on them just from the plates, little pieces of paper. So I'm using my glue eraser to actually get rid of some of those little extra bits of paper, just so that this will be completely clean to put on to the card. There, that looks much better. So I'll go ahead and just put a little skim of glue along all the figures here as well. You really don't need much, but just a little to stick them on. So if you haven't had a look at the Last Chance sale, do have a look, because most of the Christmas papers and holiday and winter papers are retiring, and the Halloween one as well, and you won't be able to get them anymore. So it's a good idea to have a look at those. And then all of the discounted items as well. There's some stamp sets that are on pretty big discount, and some die sets. This is one of the die sets that is discounted. And I was a little surprised because I thought that it would be high enough demand that they probably wouldn't discount it, but they did. So that was a nice surprise for everybody. Okay, let's move that over just a touch. And we'll stick it down. Okay. Next, we're going to put on our little donkey friend here. So, and then we're going to stick on these other two guys as well. So why don't we just get all the glue on right now, and then they'll be ready to go when we need them. All right, so here we go. So it takes a little bit of care and precision just to get these little figures on, but I think it is well worth it because, I mean, look at the scene that you create here. I just think it looks so fantastic. I saw it in the catalog and it looked nice, but when I actually saw it in person, it was even better. So I've been so impressed with this. All right, and here we go. Let's put that one kind of here-ish maybe. That's good. And you can decide and use your discretion where you want to put them exactly. It really doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So before we do anything else, I'm going to actually secure that to the card base. So I'm using some basic white thick cardstock as my card base. I noticed this morning it is out of stock at the moment, but after visiting the Stampin' Up! Plant in Kanab, Utah this summer, what I can say is that they do all the paper cutting right there at their factory, and so I would expect that to be back fairly soon because they can cut as many pieces as they need. All right, so I'm just going to use some of my Stampin' Seal on the back to add this. Since nothing is popped up now, not yet anyways, with dimensionals, it should be easy to just put that on, even though we've stuck on a lot of different elements. And you can put as much as adhesive or as little as you like. I like to cover all the corners just to make sure that it's really on there. But some people just like to do the corners and not the spaces in between. So you can just suit yourself. All right, so now what I'm going to do next is use my multi-purpose liquid glue again for one more item, and that is for this star. So let's see. And you could use a dimensional for this if you prefer. I'm doing it this way just to make it easier for mailing, so I'm sure that it's not too tall for the mailing slot. All right, and we're gonna stick that one on right there. So again, depending on how you've arranged your elements, you can decide exactly where you want your star to go. And this little one, I'm going to use a mini dimensional to stick that on. So let me grab those. You can see I've used them for lots of other things here. So these mini dimensionals, I believe you get 720 of them in a pack for $6. So it's a good price for that. And there's 300 of the regular sized ones in a pack. So just to give you a sense of how they come. All right, so I'm just going to put that right on top there. Okay, so far so good. And now all we need to add is our little embellishments. So I'm simply using these rhinestone basic jewels. I use these for a lot of things. They really go with almost anything. And I always like to keep a stash of them in my cupboard because I like them so much. In fact, here's one that was left from another package. So it's been orphaned. Let's use that poor little guy right now. So I'm just going to use my tip of my Take Your Pick tool with the putty to be able to place it. So I'll do that. I'll move these up so you can see them a little bit. And I'll put another one there. And maybe one more over here. All right, so there is the finished card. So actually it's not that hard. And if you use this paper, which is the Fresh as a Daisy paper flipped over to the blue side, you could use Night of Navy, or you could use copper clay, or you could use black, whatever, a dark color to stamp this O Holy Night if you didn't want to emboss. But I think the embossing just gives it that extra little bit. I just really like that. And then you've got a little bit of shine with the stars and a little bit of bling with your embellishments. But it's all very, very simple ingredients here because you're only using one section of the Designer Series paper, and the rest is all just little bits of cardstock, really. So, and a little bit of gold foil. So I hope you've enjoyed that project today. If you click on the link that's in this post, it'll take you to Julie's Craft Attic. To the exact page where I have all of the dimensions for this and all the instructions, and I have also the supply list if you need to buy any supplies. So a reminder again that these dies that I used, they are only available while supplies last. And I know some things in the last chance sale have already sold out, and people are probably a little disappointed they didn't get in there earlier. So make sure if you need these dies or the stamp set or these dies, that you get in there right away and get them before they disappear for good. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. If I can help you with any of your crafting needs, please contact me. I'd be delighted to hear from you, and I'm so happy to hear from anybody actually that watches my videos so that I know there are people out there who appreciate them. So thanks again, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.